What is the chance that a factory sends you a faulty jacket or that a random number wheel lands on your favorite flower? Probability isn't just a math chapter, it's how we predict the world. Today, we are tearing through exercise 11.3 from the letters in Allah to the expected frequency of a dice roll. We are bridging the gap between luck and logic. Let's solve it. Mastering Probability, a step by step guide to exercise 11.3. Let's break down every problem from basic probability to expected frequency. The core formula for probability. The probability of an event is the chance of something happening, and that is equal to the number of favorable outcomes over the total number of possible outcomes. Problem number one, finding probability in the word Allah. A letter is chosen randomly from the word Allah. We need to find the probability of getting a vowel, an H, an L, and a consonant. Okay, for finding a vowel, we know that in the word of Allah we have two vowels. The first is A and the second is also A. That makes our favorable outcomes 2. And the total outcomes in the word Allah is 5. That means the probability of getting a vowel is 2 over 5. For the second part, getting an H, the favorable outcomes will be 1 because there is only one H and the total number of outcomes is 5, so the probability will be 1 by 5. For the third part, we need to get an L, so the probability of getting an L will be 2 by 5 as favorable outcomes are 2. For the fourth part, getting a consonant, in the word of Allah we have three consonants. The first is L, the second is also L, and the last is H. That means that the number of favorable outcomes will be 3 and our probability will be 3 by 5. For the problem 2, quality control at the garment factory. A garment factory shipped an order which contained 7,000 jackets, 2,000 sweaters, and 3,000 trousers, in which 6 trousers, 3 jackets, and 9 sweaters are faulty. If the quality inspector unpacked one item at random, find the probability that it is part a trouser, part B, not a jacket, and part C, a faulty item. Firstly, we need to set up the given data. The total number of items, we have 7,000 jackets, 2,000 sweaters, and 3,000 trousers. If we add them up all together, we get 12,000 total items. And we need to find the total faulty items, so that means 6 will be added with 3 and 9 to give us 18 faulty items in total. For the first part, we need to find the probability that it is a trouser. That means that the favorable outcomes of a trouser, which are 3,000, will be divided by the total outcomes, which is 12,000. So we get 1 by 4. For the second part, the probability that we do not get a jacket, we will just add 2,000 sweaters with 3,000 trousers and divide it by 12,000. That gives us 5,000 divided by 12,000, and that is equal to 5 by 12. For the third part, for finding the probability of a faulty item, we will take the total faulty items, which is 18, and divide that by 12,000. That gives us 3 divided by 2,000. Problem number 3, spinning the number wheel. We need to find the probability that our pointer stops at rose, stops at a 4-letter flower name, doesn't stop at marigold, and stops at a 3-letter flower name. If you look at the diagram shown, we have basically 8 sectors, 8 flowers, and we spin our number wheel and we need to find for the first part that our pointer stops at the flower rose. So only we have one flower which is named rose and the total outcomes is 8. That means 1 by 8 will be our probability. For the second part, stops at a four-letter flower name. There are only two flowers whose names are of four letters, and that is rose and lily. That means our favorable outcomes is 2, and if we want to find the probability, that will be 2 by 8 or simply 1 by 4. For the third part, the probability of stopping at marigold, the favorable outcomes will be 7 and the total outcomes is 8. That means 7 by 8. And then the probability that it stops at a three-letter flower name. We do not have a flower whose name is of three letters. That means this is an impossible event. For problem 4, rolling our decagonal dice. A decagonal dice is labeled 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, and the total outcomes is 10. We need to find the probability of getting a 4. So we know that 4 occurs 4 times and the total outcomes is 10. So 4 divided by 10 is our probability, or simply 2 by 5. For the second part, we need to find the probability of getting multiples of 4. So the multiples of 4, what are they? The multiples of 4, we have 6 multiples of 4. The first is 4 and the second is 6, and then we have 8. That means our favorable outcomes is 6 and our answer will be 3 by 5. And then for the third part, we have the probability of finding an even number. How many even numbers do we have? We have 4 even numbers, then we have 6, and then we have 8. That means our favorable outcomes is 7, and 7 divided by 10 will be our probability. And the last part is the probability of not getting a 7. So that means our favorable outcomes will be 9, and 9 out of 10 is our probability since 1 is subtracted from 10. Problem number 4, rolling the decagonal dice, part 2. Here is the sample space grid from the previous slide. We have 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. We know that the total outcomes are 10, but we need to now find the probability of getting an odd number. So we have three odd numbers. The first is 5, the second is also 5, and the third is 7. That means our favorable outcomes is 3, so 3 by 10 is our probability. For the sixth part, we need to find the probability of getting a prime number. That means we have three numbers which are of prime, and that is 5, 5, 7. So favorable outcomes are again 3, and 3 divided by 10 is our probability. What is a prime number? A prime number is a number greater than 1 with only two factors, 1 and itself. Okay, now moving on to the seventh part, we need to find the probability of the LCM of 4 and 8. If we take the least common multiple of 4 and 8, that is simply just 8, that means our favorable outcomes 8 is occurring 2 times in this sample space. That means 2 by 10 is our probability, or simply 1 by 5. Then for the eighth part, we need to find the probability of the HCF of 4 and 8. The HCF of 4 and 8 is just 4. 4 occurs 4 times in the sample space. So 4 by 10 will be our probability. And if we expand it, that is just 2 by 5. And for the ninth part, we need to find the probability of finding factors of 12. The factors of 12 are 4, 6, 12, 1, but only from the sample space grid, the factors of 4 which occur 4 times and 6 are given. That means we have 5 favorable outcomes divided by total outcomes, that is 1 by 2. Problem 5. Choosing a single digit number. We need to choose a one digit whole number. It is chosen at random. We need to find the probability that it is part number A less than 5. Firstly, a one digit whole number starts from 0 and ends at 9. That means our total outcomes is simply 10. Okay, Now for the first part, we need to find the probability that our number will be less than 5. We know that 0 is less than 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4, all of them are less than 5. But if you add them up together, the favorable outcomes will be 5. So 5 by 10 is just 1 by 2. For the second part, the probability of getting a number greater than 10. There is no number which is greater than 10. That means this is an impossible event or simply 0. For the third part, we will find the probability of not the largest one digit number. So we know that we have 9, which is the largest one digit number, but we will subtract it with 1. That means 1 minus 1 by 10, and that will be our probability of not the largest one digit number. Now for part number 4, we need to find the additive identity of the whole numbers. So the additive identity of the whole numbers, that means if you add all of the numbers with 0, they will be equal to that same number. So here our identity is 0. Our favorable outcome will be 1 because 0 occurs one time. So 1 by 10 is our probability of additive identity of whole numbers. Okay, now we need to look at the part 5th, which is finding the probability of HCF of 3 and 5. If we take the HCF of 3 and 5, we will notice that there is no common value between them, so it is just 1. Our favorable outcome will be 1 and our probability will be 1 by 10. Looking at the 6th part, we need to find the probability that it will not be a prime number. The following numbers which are not prime are 0, 1, 4, 6, 8, and 9. So that means our favorable outcomes is only 6. 6 by 10 is 3 by 5. That will be our probability of not getting a prime number. Then for the 7th part, the probability of the multiplicative identity of real numbers. We know that the multiplicative identity of real number will be 1, so our favorable outcomes is 1 and our probability will be 1 by 10. And the multiplicative identity is 1 as any number multiplied by 1 is itself. Okay, then for the last part, we need to find the probability of getting a factor of 9. So we have three factors of 9 in this single digit number sample space, and that is 1, 3, and 9. So favorable outcomes are 3 and our probability will be 3 by 10. A new tool from theory to experiment. Relative frequency. The probability of an event based on the results of an experiment. Relative frequency is basically the frequency of an event divided by the total number of trials, while expected frequency is a prediction of how many times an event will happen in a future set of trials. And it is equal to the probability of an event multiply the new number of trials. In problem number 6, we are gonna analyze a coin toss. A coin is tossed 10 times. We will complete the given table and answer the questions below the table. We have an event which is heads or tails. Heads occurs 6 times and we need to find its relative frequency. What will be its relative frequency? Firstly, we will take the total number of outcomes, which is 10, and above we will take the occurring outcomes, the possible outcomes, the favorable outcomes, and that is 6. So 6 by 10 is 3 by 5. That is our relative frequency. Then for tail, we know that our frequency is 4 and the total outcomes is 10. So 4 divided by 10 is 2 by 5. That is our relative frequency. Now what will be the expected frequency of heads in 520 tosses? We know that the expected frequency, the formula for that is the probability of an event multiplied by what? By the number of trials. Here the number of trials is 520 and it will be multiplied by the probability of heads, which is 312. Expected frequency of tails in 305 tosses. Here the probability of tail will be multiplied with the number of trials, which means probability of tail multiplied by 305, and that is 122 times. Problem number 7, predicting dice rolls. Here we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. their frequencies are given and we need to find their relative frequency. If we take the possible outcomes or favorable outcomes and divide that by the total number of outcomes, we will get all of the possible events, the probabilities of the possible events. So, firstly, in the first part, what is the problem statement? Expected 6s in 6,000 rolls. Firstly, we will take the probability of 6 and multiply that with 6,000. The probability of 6 will be 1 by 8 and multiplied by 6,000, that is 750 times. The expected ones in 3,000 rolls. We know that if we multiply the probability of 1 with 3,000, we will get 1 by 8 into 3,000. Why? Because 1 occurred only one time. And the frequency, we basically took the probability of 1 and we check from the table that the probability of 1 is 1 by 8. That is why we multiply with the 3000, so we get 375. And in the last part, expected 2's in 400 rolls. If you look in the table above, we have the probability of 2 as 5 by 24. So it gets multiplied with 400 rolls and that is 83 times. Problem number 8, the Science Olympiad selection. We need to select a girl for the Science Olympiad from 6 different school sections. We have Teal, Orchid, Maeve, Hazel, Zephyr, Denim. These are the total sections, and if we add them up, we get 6. For the first part, we need to find the probability of selecting a girl from the Hazel section. Favorable outcomes of Hazel is just 1 and the probability is 1 by 6. Now we need to find the probability of not selecting a girl from the Hazel sections. So the favorable outcomes will be 5 because they are all other sections. So 5 by 6 is the answer of probability. Problem 8, verification and expectation. Now for the C part, we need to verify that answers of the parts A and B add up to 1. So if you take the probability of Hazel, which is 1 by 6, and add it with the probability of not Hazel, which is just the complement of H, so that will be equal to 1, which is 6 by 6. For part D, if 60 girls are to be selected, then find the expected number of girls from orchid section. So the probability of orchid multiplied by 60, that is 1 by 6 into 60, simply 10 girls. If 60 girls are to be selected, what number of girls is expected to be chosen from teal? The probability of teal is 1 by 6 and it's gonna be multiplied with 60, that gives us 10 girls. Exercise 11.3, Mastery Unlocked. We calculated basic probability from list, visuals, and word problems, defined and used a sample space to find all possible outcomes, applied number theory, which is prime, factors, HCF, and LCM for probability, and we mastered the difference between theoretical, relative, and expected frequency. We also used experimental data to make future predictions. Congratulations, you successfully navigated every challenge in this exercise. These skills are the foundation of understanding statistics and data in the world around you. Drop your answer in the comment section. If this helped you bridge the gap to a perfect score, hit like and subscribe to STEM Bridge. See you in the next lesson.